Let's try and keep
Ways and Means Committee. We're on time, precisely on that clock, nine time on that clock, but my watch said it was 8 or 9:30. We were told that the last time we had this, that it was
Microphone on.
recorded, but we weren't. Are we running? Okay. I was just saying that that clock we're starting on time and that clock we're a little late. My wristwatch said matched with that one. But at any rate, we are convened and we do have the minutes. Representative Wilson?
Mr. Chair, I move the minutes for May 17th.
Okay, that motion is before us. Any discussion? Seeing none, then all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, motion carried. Couple of items as we get started here. We are going to take up House File 2682. That was the one that was left over from yesterday on the agenda. And we'll have a brief explanation from Representative Lillie. I think everybody probably knows what the ultimate purpose of it may be. It's an issue that we incorporated in the omnibus legacy bill earlier. But we need to be sure we are prepared for whatever events may take place today or tomorrow. And so we had pointed out that we might have some other bills added to the agenda. I've added a bill that I just happened to be the author of that was in the Ways and Means Committee that could conceivably be used as a vehicle if need be, if Ways and Means would need to convene as a result of whatever happens with the global negotiations. And the same is true with the budget resolution. So my intent this morning will be to have Representative Lillie briefly describe his bill and to move that on to general orders. And then we will recess and we'll be operating much like we did yesterday, just stand by in case we need to take any further action. And as we all know, that's all tied up in the discussion between governor, speaker, and the majority leader in the Senate. So that's where things stand currently. So Representative Lillie, would you care to make a motion?
Yes, Mr. Chair, I move adoption of the Legacy Finance Division report for House File 2682.
Okay, the motion is before us. Any discussion? Seeing none, then all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, motion carried. Representative Lillie, would you like to move the bill?
Yes, sir, Mr. Chair. Mr. Chair, I move that House File 2682 be recommended to pass and placed on the general register.
Okay, any discussion on the motion? I'm not sure whose hand went up first, but Representative Scott, I'll start.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Was there an amendment we were supposed to adopt, or did we do that? I had an amendment in my packet.
For this bill?
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's the A1.
yeah. Well, as I just was reminded, we
Oh.
moved the bill first, and then we
Oh,
only
I got
adopted the
it. We haven't
division
adopted, we just
report.
moved it. Okay, sorry.
And being that you raised the question, why don't you move your amendment now? If you'd like.
Mr. Chair,
Oh, that's right, it's Leon's amendment, or Representative, it's early in the morning.
Mr. Chair, now that the bill is before you, I move that the A1 amendment, and that amendment simply aligns the numbers with the legacy bill and then make sure that the fundings that are in my bill aren't in multiple places, so.
Okay, the amendment is before us. I was confused a bit. I thought you were referring that you might have an amendment. Okay, Representative Lillie's amendment is before us, the author's amendment. Any discussion? Seeing none, then all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carried. Now on the bill as amended, Representative Lillie, would you give us just a quick recap of what the bill is dealing with, and then we'll take a vote and be on our way to the House floor. Oh, Representative Torkelson, did you have a?
Well, thank you, Mr. Chair, and to the chair of the committee that is now in conference. We all realize this is a vehicle bill. How about an update on how your conference committee is going?
Representative Lillie, would you like to comment on that?
Yes, Mr. Chair and Representative Torkelson and other members. So the legacy amendment, or the legacy bill is in conference with the Senate. We're facing off to, with Senator Rood, and we have some things that we've agreed upon already, and then we continue to work on other areas. I'm very hopeful that we can get ours together pretty quickly, but some of that's tied to with what's going on with the leaders. So we continue to be part of that as well, so.
And then Representative Torkelson, did you have
Well, thank you, Mr. Chair. Representative Lillie, your budget basically is already in place. You know how much money you have to spend, unlike other conference committees. So have you been working on the numbers in your bill or just policy?
Representative Lillie?
Mr. Chair and Representative Torkelson, and we've been working on both. But there are some movements that have been made in the Senate and also in the House that might be solved in other budgets, whether that be environment or even the state government bill as well. So there's a variety of different, there's some veterans things that are in the, for example, in the state government bill. And then, so.
Representative Torkelson?
Well, thank you, Mr. Chair. Thank you, Chair Lillie, for that update. Mr. Chair, as we look at the calendar and the clock and starting to realize that the odds of getting things done are dwindling quickly. We all know, or I think most of us know, that if we go past Monday night, conference committees evaporate. And that changes the dynamics of our work. It's alarming that we can't seem to get our work done, and I think it's too bad that we all have to start thinking about special session, but I think we should. I don't know how that affects your work here in this committee, Mr. Chair, but when the conference committees evaporate, the negotiations change pretty dramatically, and hard work that chairmen have done in all these committees tends to get put under.
I think, Representative Torkelson, this is a very senior committee, and I think we've all probably experienced exactly what you're talking about and know what potentially is down the road. The one footnote that I would add to that is that in the entire United States of America, there's one divided legislature, and it's here in Minnesota. And to a degree, I suspect that maybe complicates things because there has to be some compromise that perhaps some other states that are either controlled totally by the Republicans or totally by the Democrats don't have to deal with. Although I do have to say that sometimes I've observed when the Republicans have controlled here in Minnesota both bodies, and the same is true with the Democrats, there's also some tough bargaining sometimes because then you've got whoever happened to be the governor at the time. I'm not going to give a history lesson going back 47 years, but I've seen just about everything that's happened that we're talking about right now. But I think for the record, we want to make sure that people know what the bill is that we're moving out. I think everybody understands it's going to be on general orders for backup. But if anybody ever wants to listen to what was transpired or what bill was moved out, if you could give us a quick recap, Representative Lillie, and then, like I said earlier, we'll take a vote, we'll go into recess, and other bills may or may not be added, but I did add one bill that I just happened to be the author of that would be used as a vehicle if need be, and then the budget resolution, just like yesterday, if we need to make any adjustments on anything that might need to be moved forward under the House budget resolution. So Representative Lillie on the bill, as amended.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. The legacy bill is, as most of you or all of you should know, in 2008, the voters of Minnesota passed a constitutional amendment to raise the sales tax 3/8 of 1%. And these monies are spent on outdoors activities such as like hunting and fishing, 33%, 33% spent on waters of Minnesota, 19% is spent on arts and cultural activities around Minnesota, and then 14 or so percent, 14.25, I believe, is spent on parks and trails around the state of Minnesota. So these are monies that are voter approved, and so it runs. The chair has given me a zero target as far as his target, but we have a little bit of money to spend, and that's, I feel lucky that we have that, and I think we have done a good job of spending that as a House and the Senate and legislature as a whole. You can argue with details, but I think Minnesota's been proud of the work, and I think this bill includes some great projects around the state.
Representative Lillie and I go back and forth a little bit about that zero, but just in case anybody looks or listens to the tape, it's because there is a separate, as Representative Torkelson pointed out, revenue stream relative to the legacy, as we all know. But we do have to account for it in some way in the budget resolution. That's why the line shows a zero. But any discussion then on the bill? Okay, seeing none then, Representative Lillie, would you like to renew your motion?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Yes, I'd like to renew my motion that House File 2682 as amended be recommended to be placed on the general register.
Okay, any discussion? Seeing none then, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Then just for everybody's information, I mentioned two items that could conceivably come up later today. House File 1039, which could be used as a vehicle as necessary, and the budget resolution, but I do want to make it clear that depending on what transpires today, it's possible that other bills could be added as well, to give everybody a heads up on that. So we are, Representative Grafflo.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Before we recess, not adjourn, recess.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chairman. And just, as the schedule looks like right now, we're going to go up to the floor, we're going to recess, caucus, go back to the floor. Floor is going to complete its work, and then we're likely going to recess to the call of the chair. I would just ask if you could, usually you kind of have like a 30-minute barometer. If you can maybe extend that out to 45 minutes or an hour, because I suspect many members have a good idea of how the rest of the day is going to go, and they're probably going to leave campus to go home. And some of us live maybe a little bit more than 30 minutes away. So if that's possible, Mr. Chairman, that would be appreciated.
Representative Grafflo, do my best on that. With the dynamics that are going on, it's hard to predict when the floor might convene or when they might request that this committee do something in preparation for the floor. So we'll do our best on advance notice, but having said that, everybody should just be alert to the fact that things can sometimes happen pretty quickly.
Understood.
And it's things that may or may not be within the realm of this committee's ability to determine the schedule.
And Mr. Chairman, realize I can always drive faster, so that's not a problem for me. That's not an issue. But, some other members may have a little bit
Is
farther
your car
drive.
well charged?
Absolutely. It's fully charged and ready to go. So-
Okay. I think members know what I mean by that. Okay, with that, we are in recess.